under-celebrated 80s superhero movies that are awesome. In today's world, there is an unquestionable popularity of superhero movies. With Marvel and DC churning out massive hits, people can't seem to get enough of these films. But the 80s were not exactly the best time for superhero movies. There was often an issue with the budget, and at other times it was the technological handicap that led to poor special effects. However, there are some amazing superhero movies during this era that would have been brushed aside by the sands of time. You have to remember that the 80s were an era of flamboyance. The rebellious youth and their ideals are reflected in the movies that were being made. With the right story, the superhero movies could strike gold, only if it had the support of special effects as it does today. In this video, we bring back the fond memories of these unsung classics from the 80s. These superhero movies might not be the most popular, but will certainly make for an entertaining watch.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Flash Gordon, 1980. The superhero films of the 80s often had the most bizarre plots. This one, for instance, tells the story about an American football hero named Flash Gordon, who goes to the planet Mongo, along with his girlfriend and Dr. Hans Zarkov. Mongo is under a tyrannical rule, where the ruler, Ming, often causes unnatural disasters to Earth, as he deems it to be a threat to his rule. Flash has to unite all the warring kingdoms on Mongo and thus save the world from the evil Ming. This movie is an adaptation of a comic strip from the 1930s, and the makers have been true to the original text. With amazing costumes and sets, they have successfully paid a tribute to the original comics. Even the dialogue will take you back to the era when the plot was conceived. There is a strong socio-political subtext in the story where you can see the heroes and villains portraying stereotypical characteristics from the mid-20th century. Sam J. Jones, Max von Sydow, and the other members of the cast have been carefully chosen to deliver a captivating performance. If you are drawn by the harsh criticism of this film, then you are actually missing the point. It was meant to be this way, fun and comical, with the entertaining bits in place. The Punisher, 1989. A dedicated cop, Frank Castle, takes it upon himself to rid the city of the mafia's influence. But the mob hits back when they manage to kill his entire family through a car bomb. Frank is presumed dead, but he lives to deliver his own brand of vigilante justice. He navigates through the city's underground sewers and exacts revenge on those who killed his family. He stands up to all wrongdoings and does so silently but effectively. This movie was the first ever live-action version of The Punisher and was of great curiosity for the fans. The hero in this story has a sensitive human side and is not just a ruthless killing machine. There is an instance where he teams up with a despised enemy to rescue his son. The shots involving the motorcycle cam add to the cool moments in the movie. The Punisher even has a wacky sidekick for comic relief. There couldn't have been a better actor to play the Punisher than the muscular Dolph Lundgren. With his square jaw, black hair, and stubble, he literally brought the comic book hero to life. Watch this movie for the mesmerizing comic book adaptation that it is. The Toxic Avenger, 1984. Contamination with toxic waste has been the premise of so many superhero stories, and this is one more. It tells the story of Melvin, who is a social misfit and works in the Tromaville Health Club. He suffers from a lot of bullying and abuse, until he ends up in some barrels with toxic waste. It has a transmogrification effect on him, and he becomes the local superhero who fearlessly takes on the bad guys. He then becomes a threat to the corrupt mayor of the town. The plot is cheesy, and the acting is nowhere near as impressive as you would expect. But before you dismiss this as another trash film, you should know that people have loved it over the years. With Troma Production, a production house known for the best B movies, in charge of things, this too was initially introduced as a B movie. It soon became so popular that 3 sequels and a cartoon show were made following this movie. This film serves as a perfect guilty pleasure, where you could watch cheesy, revolting scenes unfold one after another. There is a serious element of gore where guts are ripped out and arms are severed. There's even a car sequence that never seems to end. The jokes are often atrocious, and the special effects are barely there. Even with all this, the Toxic Avenger is a thorough entertainer. It is the king of those movies that are so bad that it's fun to watch. Watch. Swamp Thing, 1982. A scientist tries to create a new species in the depths of a murky swamp. The creature is going to be a combination of animals and plants. It would be able to adapt to every type of harsh condition. Due to an accident, he himself becomes the subject of his experiment and gets transformed into a swamp plant monster. A man who desperately wants to steal the formula tries to capture the swamp monster, but it is never easy to subdue a man with superpowers. This film is a perfect reminder of the 1950s sci-fi horror movies, as the sets and dialogue are all in strong resemblance to that. The director, Wes Craven, is no stranger to horror films, and has made several movies involving mutants and lowlifes. This time, he tries to adapt a comic series, and does so elegantly. He makes this movie into a harmless and enjoyable affair where the plot does not take itself seriously. There is the goofy monster, and of course, the beautiful Barbeau running through the swamp in a wet t-shirt. There are some chase scenes involving David Hess, and others, like Ray Wise and Adrienne Barbeau, are appropriate in their roles. In short, this is no classical adaptation of a comic book, but at the same time, it is definitely great fun to watch.
All I carry is my trusty old cane.
Condorman, 1981. What if you could become something that you drew? The protagonist in this story, a cartoonist named Woody, has this unique ability. He is requested by a beautiful Soviet spy to help her defect to the West. For this mission, he creates the Condorman, who is a winged superhero creature. He has some amazing gadgets to add to his power, and with these, he must successfully carry out the defection. Cold War espionage is a major part of the story, and is thus intriguing for many. It is a charming and feel-good movie where the special effects are lacking, but you won't mind. The plot is simple, with the usual good versus evil storyline. There are some creepy Russian villains who make an intimidating appearance to challenge the hero. You have cool gadgets, with some of the finest car and boat chase sequences that you will ever see. There are some funny bits, but in general, the movie attempts to be a fast-paced adventure. Michael Crawford does well in the role of Condorman, but it is not the acting that will make you love this film. Condorman is all about the stupid, cheesy fun that you will have if you sit and watch it with a group of friends. The Incredible Hulk Returns, TV movie, 1989. The movie takes off from the premise that it has been 2 years since the powers of the mighty Hulk has surfaced. Dr. Bruce Banner is about to find his cure, and the gamma transponder that caused his condition will now heal him. In such a situation, he is faced with a crisis when the machine is stolen and his girlfriend is kidnapped. A former colleague possesses the mystic hammer that can summon Thor. Caught in a mess, Bruce depends on his Hulk powers and Thor to save the day. You may be used to the Avengers now, but this is the first time that Thor and Hulk were brought together. Bill Bixby as Dr. Banner is impressive, but Lou Ferrigno is the real showstopper with his performance as the Hulk. To see Hulk and Thor battle criminals is fulfilling, and the irresistible lead actor makes things even better. Thor, played by Eric Kramer, is made to be silly, but has great chemistry with the Hulk. The scene where Bruce Banner sees Thor for the first time is brilliantly shot. In this movie, Hulk appears to have a lighter shade of green and seems taller and more muscular. This film is simply awesome, and one that you can't miss out on if you are a superhero buff.
Mind if I drop in?
I'm gonna cut you, man.
Hero at Large, 1980. Here we have a superhero who merely has a superhero costume, but no superpowers. Or maybe we're wrong. His superpower is his ability to stand up to wrongdoings. He is a struggling actor who is wearing the costume of Captain Avenger, the character of the movie he is promoting. During the stint, he goes to buy milk and stops a robbery. Can he repeat his exploits and impress his love interest? Don't go ahead expecting a deep, dark storyline like Dark Knight. It's meant to be fun, and so it is. The characteristics of the superhero is interesting, because his superpower is his ability to put himself in danger to help others. There are hardly any special effects in the film other than a few fires. John Ritters gives a powerful performance, and you might find a resemblance with Dustin Hoffman's character in Tootsie. With a powerful script, this might not have the charisma of the glamorous superhero film, but stands no less. This feel-good ending will leave you beaming from ear to ear.
Back off! Now damn it, I mean it! Hey! Hey, leave alone!
Easy, friend. Ha! Buckaroo Banzai!
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension, 1984. What's a superhero without stopping evil alien forces? In this movie, Buckaroo Banzai has an uphill task. He has to stop the mighty alien invaders from the 8th dimension who are planning to take over the Earth. He's helped by his crime-fighting team called the Hong Kong Cavaliers, and together, they must stand between the aliens and humanity. The well-written, clever script is sure to cause a few laughs here and there. The direction is in able hands, and even the low-budget special effects do not disappoint. The aliens are shown to be intelligent evil beings who manage to stay ahead of Buckaroo till the end. There are quite a few surprises in store for you, and the plot is nowhere near predictable. Peter Weller is perfectly suited for the lead role of the superhero, who is an inventor, neurosurgeon, and also a rock star. There are some heart-stopping moments, such as when Buckaroo detects the presence of red Lectroid agents amidst his kind. With friends and pizza, this movie can be a deadly combination, and you ought to try it out.
Sorry!
Popeye, 1980. There is a great debate surrounding the superhero nature of Popeye. We tend to dismiss the version that negates his claim to superhero stature, because he pretty much does everything that a superhero does. For instance, he eats his veggies to gather superhuman strength, saves the damsel in distress, and takes on the villains. Now that we have established him as a superhero, this movie narrates the adventures of a famous sailor man, Popeye, who is searching for his long-lost father. He falls in love with Olive Oyl, but she is supposed to get married to Captain Bluto. When she is in danger, Popeye brings in his superhuman strength to protect her. The maestro Robin Williams found his first serious movie role in this film, and he was exceptionally good as Popeye. He brought the humor and humanity to the character that makes him so lovable. The makers literally bring the 2D comic strip to life, and the atmosphere is one of the most pleasing aspects of this film. The mesmerizing musical scores of Harry Nilsson's does a great job of sketching out the motives and emotions of the characters. This movie is thoroughly enjoyed by kids due to its simple and juvenile plotline. It is a fascinating plunge into the world of Popeye the Sailor Man, a character we have grown to love all through our childhood.